Hello and welcome. This is NTA Tuesday Live and I'm Cyril Stober. The federal government announced fresh incentives to boost agricultural investment under President Bola Tinubu's Renewed Hope agenda. This is part of ongoing reforms to unlock Nigeria's vast food production potential through new policies that serve as a game changer for agriculture and infrastructure investments in the country. Vice President Kashim Shettima disclosed this during the Food and Agriculture Organization National and Sub-Regional Hand-in-Hand Investment Forum in Abuja. According to him, while hunger poses a global security issue, Nigeria must mobilize its strengths to secure a future of abundance. In his words, quote, "Nothing unifies humanity as much as hunger. It is the great equalizer that reveals our vulnerabilities and the shared fragility of our existence. Food is not merely a matter of survival, it is a matter of global security." End of quote. The administration is introducing single-window platforms for land registration, strengthening agricultural credit systems, expanding irrigation infrastructure, and scaling mechanization. Tonight, NTA Tuesday Live will focus on food security, federal government incentives to boost agriculture. But before we go into the conversation, let's get to see this report put together by agriculture correspondent Musa Baba Aliu.
Nigeria recognized as Africa's largest agricultural market, with an estimated market value of approximately $100 billion. The country's agricultural sector thrives due to diverse exports including sesame seeds, soybeans, cashew nuts, alongside its position as a leading producer of staples such as maize, sorghum, cassava and yam. Projections indicate that Nigeria's agricultural economy could reach $100 trillion within the next 5 years. However, agricultural economists suggest that addressing key challenges and adopting certain measures could unlock even greater potential. These include tackling climate change, promoting smart farming practices, advancing mechanization and tractorization for large-scale production, and ensuring peace and stability in rural farming communities. During the FAO Hand-in-Hand initiative, Nigeria's Minister of Agriculture, Abubakar Kyari, announced that the federal government's plan to increase investment in the agricultural subsector. The focus will be on tomatoes, cassava and maize to boost productivity, reduce post-harvest losses, strengthen food security, and deliver robust financial returns for investors. Specifically, the country aims to expand tomato production to generate $860 million by cultivating 72,000 hectares in Kano, Bauchi, and Borno. Additionally, $382 million investment in cassava will target 207,000 hectares in Ogun, Oyo, and Anambra, benefiting 45,000 farmers directly and over 300,000 individuals indirectly. The plan includes establishing 375 processing units, including mobile facilities and supporting farmer cooperatives with improved access to finance and high-quality inputs.
We must drive mechanization to reduce drudgery and enhance productivity. We must strengthen the agricultural credit system to ensure capital flows where it is needed most. We must prioritize value addition to create jobs and wealth within our borders. We must build the infrastructure that link farm gates to markets.
I say that because we are looking at sustainable solutions like I've pointed out, we have also realized that there is a changing structure. The dynamics is changing. So what we are planning to do as a ministry this year is to properly define the farm typologies that we'll be making intervention on. And I think so far, we recognize we have smallholder farmers, we have family farms, we also have medium holding farmers, that is mid farms or mid-sized farmers. And we also have large farmers, large scale. We also have industrial. So all of this, we're trying to properly define them to enable us target them for intervention.
In the realm of smart agriculture, the Jigawa State government recently launched a village hub to educate farmers on modern farming techniques and innovations.
And you can see how transformative this project already is, because we are at a venue where local materials have been used to construct these premises, where electricity is available via solar, where water, potable water is available, where agricultural activity is being energized, and it's a microeconomy that has been created that is going to benefit rural folk.
Meanwhile, Nasarawa State government has dedicated over 3,000 hectares to rice cultivation to meet local demand and supply rice mills across the country. Musa Baba Aliyu.
All right, that report sets the tone for tonight's discussion. Let's start off by introducing our guests on this program. We'd like to welcome the Governor of Jigawa State, Governor Umar Namadi. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you very
tonight.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We're also joined by the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari. Minister, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Cyril.
Let me also introduce the Minister of Livestock Development, who joins us tonight, Mukhtar Edi Mayhab. Minister, good to see you.
Thank you.
And also with us tonight is Bello Anur Funtua. He's the President of the Maize Association of Nigeria. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cyril.
Right. Well, as you know the nature of this program, at some point in time, it's interactive. But when it's that time, we remind you of the process and the procedure. So it's all about food security and the federal government's incentive. And we'll like to start off by putting in true context these incentives to boost agriculture. And who better to turn to than the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security himself?
Well, thank you, Cyril, and good evening, viewers. First, let me say that government's position is to make policies and make the environment suitable for investment. The drivers of growth, economic growth, is the private sector. So what we launched last week through the FAO's hand-in-hand investment, and as the name connotes, hand-in-hand, is to join hands with government, donor agencies like the FAO, and also the private sector. As Musa Baba Aliyu has stated, we chose three main areas of investment: tomato, cassava, and maize. And we have given platforms for investment of, for private sector to ride on those catalytic measures that government and the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu had taken care of. So this hand-in-hand investment forum started 2 years ago from the July 2023 at the World Food Forum, and then to now that we are hosting the national and also the regional investment forum. So by and large, what we have introduced is to say these are those areas, low-hanging fruits that you can invest in. So like in the case of tomato, we have a huge post-harvest loss that with tomato. In fact, all the three crops that we had mentioned. In the case of maize, there's a big gap between local production and our national demand. So the gap is about 5 million tons of maize. So we are saying to investors, come and take opportunity, come and take advantage of that gap. So beyond even satisfying the local demand, there's also opportunity for you to also even go outside, take advantage of the African Continental Free Trade Area so that you can export these things to outside after securing the national demand. So the investments are there. in terms of tomato, like I said, we have right around maybe, like I said, about 40% of post-harvest losses. And post-harvest losses generally in Nigeria completely, we were losing almost $10 billion every year in post-harvest losses. And so there are advantages. You can have investments in closed cold stores. You can have investment in storage infrastructure, silos, and so on and so forth. So there is the opportunities are abound. So the president had mandated us to open the doors of Nigeria to business, whether it is foreign investments or local investments. So these are, we also have the NASIP, the 2024-2027 plan that guides investors to those areas that are available. This is the 3 crops that I've mentioned is for the FAO, hand-in-hand investment. And there are other areas too that we recently launched, like the post-harvest losses, where we intend to open up for investment over a period of 10 years at the cost of $3.5 billion for silo structures, you know, starting from the tier 1, from the local community areas that will now replace those, our locally homemade mud silos that we have. You know, so that those areas are anywhere between 2 tons to 20 tons of storage. And what that does is really, you have a silo that you can keep items instead of, you know, grains, instead of keeping them in your, in the corner of your house or store where they're susceptible to pests, diseases, and, you know, losses. So you have a silo system that will not only clean, but also dry and also, you know, keep them in good form, because one thing, again, the Mr. President is keen on is quality of food. So it's not only about losing this, but, you know, okay, of course, post-harvest losses are a means of wasting resources, both financial and human resources. So the efforts that people, the farmers put, end up going to waste.
All right. Well, we'll explore that in greater detail, but all of these is said to be geared towards lifting some 35 million Nigerians out of poverty, and we get the figures correctly, creating about 21 million full-time jobs.
Yes.
These are working in.
Yes.
Well, certainly they won't all come from
agriculture. But agriculture is the lowest hanging fruit, actually, for economic growth.
Well,
really.
Okay, so in all of this, we'll see how livestock, for instance, fits into this arrangement. And it's a good thing we have the minister himself here. And so we'll hear from him how this keys into these incentives that the federal government is pushing towards not just the food security, but creating jobs and lifting millions of Nigerians out of poverty.
Okay, thank you. Leveraging from where the HM Agriculture and Food Security has stopped, one needs to look at, aside from what has actually happened last week, which was a microcosm of a framework that is designed to entice investors into the agri sector, to give it the necessary traction. And what we need to look at, for instance, and there are 3 deft moves that Mr. President did to underscore his concern about national food security. Number 1 is the declaration of state of emergency on food, which again is acknowledged both nationally and internationally, that the government recognized the need to actually declare that state of emergency and adopt certain measures to wake up everybody about the critical reality of national food security. The second one is the creation of the Federal Ministry of Livestock Development out of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, to give livestock a greater mandate, a greater focus, an in-depth focus, to ventilate out the potentials to unlock that sector that has been not part of the formal sector, to mainstream the livestock sector. That is one other huge reform. That hasn't happened since the independence of this country. And looking at the volume and value of the livestock sector, what could seem Mr. President's intention, in unlocking that huge potential, to throw up more value chains to focus on the livestock sector where you get animal source proteins. The third one is the recapitalization of the Bank of Agriculture. That bank hasn't had any recapitalization in the recent past. So these three have underscored Mr. President's vision and intention to focus on agriculture and food security. But what is food security? Without going into semantics, food security is a situation where all forms of social classes within a country have physical, social, and economic access to safe, nutrient food. To take food that is nutrient-packed to meet their daily nutrient requirements. So what are the underlying words they're talking about? So all social classes in the society, they have physical, social, and economic access to food. And that food is safe, is nutrient-packed. So, and if you look at even the incentives that were declared last week to open up, get private sector investment, is to give push to massive food production using technology, also reducing the huge losses we've been suffering as indicated by Honorable Minister. And the opportunities are there. Now, if you focus on the livestock sector, for instance, it is one area that today, if you look at the agricultural value chain, including livestock, it is one sector that today has probably the greater chance, of attacking hunger at the local family level, at the last frontier. What do I mean? It is only livestock that you harvest every day. Every day you can take an egg. A chicken will lay an egg every day. Every day you can slaughter a chicken. Every day you can slaughter a sheep. Every day you can slaughter a pig, a rabbit. You can milk a goat. You can milk a cow. You can milk a camel. So that means that every day we are harvesting. So the greater focus we are giving on that is to ventilate, to wake people's consciousness about the readily available animal source protein. And once you have animal source protein, no matter the quantity, if you are getting it every day, it means that you are near to getting a balanced diet. And that could only come from the livestock. And so when you give it that greater focus, you increase the productivity, the availability, the survivability of those animals. And by our estimation, you find out that there is a shared prosperity all over the country. You start counting from Gamborungala to Abekuta, from Bodinga to Calabar. Every household within major towns, minus the cities like Abuja, there is one form of livestock or the other. It's part of the family life. And it is being kept, it is being reared for this product that we are getting from there. So you can see what we are doing here today under the Livestock Ministry is to open up, is to raise people's awareness, people's consciousness that this is available. You don't require large capital outlay to start poultry, to start rabbitry, to start piggery, to start any number you have. For a chicken, once it is 5 months old, you start getting your eggs. For a goat, the he-goat, the nanny goat, all of them are reproductive. So this is what we are talking about. So that actually focuses on that drive to make it available physically, socially, and economically in terms of being cheap and affordable once it is available. Yes, of course, there are challenges here and there. But looking at where we are today, we do believe that the livestock sector can complement the Ministry of Agriculture in that drive.
All right. Well, so far we've heard of the policies from the central government, and that's at the national level. But often you hear that these policies, they are enunciated at the center, and many times they stay out there, and the sub-nationals either do not keen or they have their own ideas of how to go about improving the various sectors. So here we are with the chief executive of one of the sub-nationals, and we will start off by asking Governor Namadi the Jigawa experience and how it keys into the matter of food security, agriculture and food security for the people. Maybe we'll use that as a yardstick to think about how the states are keen in as well.
Well, thank you very much, Siri. I think what has happened last week, where the federal government decided to provide incentives for investors to go into agriculture, I think it's a good policy and it's in the right direction. You see, I could remember in 2025 this year, the United Nations has declared that about 31 million Nigerians are likely to be food insecure, and that is very huge. So, and this is not only for the federal government. The subnationals, in fact, are the major contributors because the peoples, the farmers are with the subnationals. So I think, and whatever happens, if it is hunger, if it is food insecurity, is more at the subnational level. So certainly that is why in Jigawa we have decided to key into the agricultural policy of the federal government. What we mean by that, the president has come in and also rebranded the Ministry of Agriculture. Instead of Ministry of Agriculture and Natural Resources, now it has been rebranded into the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security. That means giving emphasis to food production. So, and for us at the state level, we need to key into that to ensure that we have contributed our own quota to secure Nigeria in terms of food. And what we are doing in Jigawa, like you ask, is that Jigawa is an agrarian society, a state, with almost 85 to 90% of our people are farmers, and smallholder farmers for that matter. So what we are doing as a government is to try as much as possible to come in and make agriculture at the mainstay of Jigawa state economy. And as a result of that, today we are able to move productions from one level to the other. And for instance, if you take rice productions, rice production was virtually about 70,000 hectares per annum, 70 to 80,000 hectares per annum. But in 2024, we did more than 200,000 hectares. How did we do that? What we did is we try as much as possible to enlighten farmers, provide subsidy. The major problem with a smallholder farmer, inputs and irrigation cost, and also irrigation infrastructure. So we try as much as possible at that level to provide input at a subsidized rate. And that has, when we started it at the first time, we saw how we moved the production from what it was to about 200,000 hectares. And that 200,000 hectares, if you are talking of at least a minimum of 4 tons per hectare, you are talking of about 800,000 tons of rice, which is quite huge. Now, that has also given us an impetus. Okay, now what is the next step? The next step is let's move to see how we can expand our irrigation facilities, irrigation infrastructure, and this is very costly. What do we do? And then we try as much as possible to introduce what we call industrial boreholes, especially at the upland areas. And that has also helped us to bring more land into production. And we have about 10 dams that are moribund. Then we try to see how we can reactivate these dams, bring them into production. That has also helped us in 2025 to move our hectareage to about 315,000 hectares. So these 300,000 hectares, that if you add it, we're talking of almost 1,200,000 tons of rice. So this is, that means going by the same practice. Now, and that has given us courage. Now we are trying to introduce mechanization. As of today, we have bought 300 tractors, we have bought 60 combine harvesters, we have bought 150 boom sprayers, and we have also bought about 150 seeders. These are all to help the smallholder farmer to ensure that we have boost production. We are trying to expand our irrigation facility at the Hadeja Valley, and this by the time, and that is why when we said that, okay, Jigawa State alone, by 2030 will provide 50% of the Nigerian rice requirement. This same thing we have done in wheat. Wheat 2024 we have done almost 55,000 hectares. This year we are doing 105,000 hectares. And this will continue to multiply because we are continuing to bring in more land into production. We continue to sensitize our farmers. We continue to provide extension service to the farmers to guide them to do the right thing. These are all things that we have put together to ensure that we have contributed our own quota to the national food security.
Well, we'll return to you in a short while, still explore further. But we have also the president of the Maize Association of Nigeria. Well, just about the first thing we might ask you is maize still affordable?
Well, once again, good evening, Mr. Cyril. Presently, the maize is available, and it is
available
affordable.
And affordable.
Yes, because, you know, as at last year, because there was a shortage of maize production, and then there was a scarcity of, I can say, the food security in general. So when our dear president observed that really our people are suffering, he now decided to give a waiver for the importation of food items so that people can get relief. So because of that, now the maize is available and it is affordable. So that is it for this.
All right. Now that we've heard that, we should now go into the other aspects of it. And when you say affordable, available now, the shortfall you faced before this period, the maize farmers, what were they looking to, and how have they been trying to increase production, and what are those factors that have helped to boost production, especially with the government introducing incentives? Are those incentives touching the maize farmers?
Yes. Let me say that we are happy and we appreciate the effort of Mr. President by providing enabling environment and opportunity about this arrangement, as well as our Honorable Minister for steering the motion. Because in maize production, all what we need is how to increase and strengthen our production. By this new system and this issue of engaging the private sector, it is something that will assist our farmers, because in our own association, this is what we are looking for, or this is what you are already into it. Because in 2023, we have started this arrangement of PPPP, private-private partnership. Private-private partnership. Okay. This is what we have done in 2023. We have done about 200,000 hectares. 2024, we did 280,000 hectares. This year, we have done 320,000 hectares with this arrangement, PPPP. Okay. It's all arrangement between the association, the farmers, and the private sectors. Right. So you can see that by bringing this new arrangement now, it is something that will assist and also boost our production by keying into this arrangement. And we have been saying this, that the only way that agriculture system can be sustainable is by doing the PPP, private partnership or public-private partnership. That is through this system. Because agriculture is a business. It's not something that for our domestic use only. So let us take it as a business. And if you want to do business successfully, so you have to engage the actual business sector in the system. That is it.
So it's interesting you talk about private partnerships, and most of the time what we hear is a private-public-private but the private is taking root. In addition to the discussion in the studio, we have a number of reports. Let's get to see this one from Ogun State.
Mishogunle and about 400 farmers at the Ajegunle Farm Settlement in Abeokuta are the direct beneficiaries of various federal government interventions and incentives such as free fertilizers, subsidized poultry production, and maize cultivation. The farmers say the intervention is transforming farming practices and boosting food production in the state.
Okay, we started feeling it last year. Because last year, the federal government, through him, gave us fertilizers free of charge. And this year, we have been promised that we equally get.
Effort of the government is very, very good. It's very, very good, actually. But we farmers also need more support.
Apart from government incentives and interventions, private individuals are also making efforts to boost food security through technological interventions. One of them is Professor Olubunmi Akinola of the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, who invented a smart storage for fresh fruit crops.
The name of the technology is called Harvest Harbor. Harvest Harbor, smart storage for fruit crops. The post-harvest losses from the farm through the value chains into logistics to the wholesale market and the retailer people on the road will be diminished. It's an automated system. It doesn't require a human operator. All the operation needed are automated. Can keep your yam fresh the way you harvested it, the same technology in a different way.
Professor Akinola commends President Bola Tinubu for making positive impact in agricultural productivity, but advises that government should reach out more to the real farmers, encourage youths with incentives to return to agriculture, and address shortage of manpower. Markets in Abeokuta are recording a marginal reduction in the prices of some staple fruits, creating temporary relief to customers. The prices of some staple food commodities eased following increased supplies from farmers, and the most notable reduction are in the prices of onions, melon, white garri, beans, frozen fish varieties, vegetable oils, yams, among others. In Abeokuta, Yemi Dalemo.
All right, and from Ogun State, let's move on to this other report from Kano.
Kano State, blessed with vast arable land, water resources and resilient population, continues to play a leading role in Nigeria's food production. With interventions from both state and federal governments, farmers in the state are increasingly leveraging incentives to boost food security, a drive already yielding visible results.
Farmers Greenfield Day. This is, of course, to showcase the potentials of the variety.
We have evaluated it at the Institute, and across our outstations, we have found them to be very, very useful in terms of productivity.
Thousands of small and large-scale farmers have benefited from training on modern farming techniques, from seed selection to fertilizer application, harvest, processing, packaging, storage, and marketing. The rehabilitation of dams and expansion of irrigation canals under the Hadeji Jama'ar River Basin Development Scheme has opened up more hectares of farmlands, ensuring year-round farming activities.
This dam is capable of irrigating an area of about 60,000 hectares, but currently only 14,000 hectares under phase 1 have been developed. And this year we are going to develop more irrigable areas, about 3,000 hectares of land.
Through the Kano Agro-Pastoral Development Project, farmers across all 44 local government areas have received inputs, machineries, and technical support, easing drudgery and increasing yields.
I'm sure from the crop production angle, irrigation segment, value addition, processing, livestock productivity enhancement, and crop resilient initiative, all these things will really crystallize in years to come.
At the Enkaba and Dawano markets, the results are evident. Food prices have dropped, allowing households to purchase more commodities to put on their family tables.
2 months ago, the prices are a bit fair.
We feel fine. We really appreciate this because the prices have already come down.
These gains, stakeholders believe, can be sustained if farmers continue to access subsidies, and with stronger linkages to extension services, production will keep improving.
We need to come up with policies that will include maybe enhancing marketing boards, and probably encourage cooperative farmer cooperative societies.
As incentives drive productivity and stabilize prices, Kano's role as a food basket remains central to Nigeria's quest for food sufficiency. In Kano, Yahanasa Hassan Barrow.
Let's now go over to the southeast, and here we'll bring this report from Ebonyi State.
With over 80% of Ebonyi State population engaged in active farming, especially cassava, rice, yam and livestock production, Ebonyi State government is making frantic efforts to support small-scale farmers with incentives such as fertilizers, herbicides, certified rice seedlings, cassava stems and yam seedlings to ensure food availability and sufficiency. Apart from the cultivation of Ezilo rice farm by the state government, which is about 1,000 hectares, and has the federal government silo for storage of grains within the location, which generates over 200,000 metric tons of rice annually. Small-scale and large-scale farmers also receive land allocation at the farm for cultivation annually, as to tackle the challenge of scarcity of land for farming.
The effort the government have done so far has been to empower rice farmers with certified rice seeds. The quality of seed you give has been the quality of seed that we are promoting, which is a Faro 44 rice seed that has a short maturing duration of 115 days. That is the effort you can see that the government is making to ensure that food is available.
I'm a farmer. The government have been giving us fertilizer to use and treat our rice. Ebonyi State government, in the area of small-scale farmers, we have done a lot. In short, they are the center of the policy in agriculture in Ebonyi State, because we really want the smallholders farmers to be doing very well in Ebonyi State, and that is what His Excellency is doing. Every year since we came on board, we always support them with agricultural inputs, like certified rice seedlings, Faro 44 to be precise, like herbicide, like fertilizer, free of charge. We don't collect anything from them.
A lot of programs have been put in place by the governor and the council chairman. The governor have procured tractors, procured harvesters, procured some bulldozers, graders to prepare lands for Ebonyi people to go to the farm.
We, the youths of this country, are begging. We urge the federal government to help us. There is no other better business than this agriculture we are doing. And we need money to achieve it. For you to get a land, to lease a land, it's money. For you to get laborers, it's money. If you're going into mechanizing, you need tractor, you need machines. So we need your help, we need grants. Let it get to the roots, to the real farmers.
The respondents are optimistic of greater harvest if the federal and state governments continue to provide them with the requisite incentives for food sufficiency. In Abakaliki, Fortunate Ozo.
All right. Back to the studio here. We've seen those reports. Minister, particularly the last one there, 3 key issues kept coming up. Irrigation, mechanization, and above all, funding. These are key areas where most of the farming population would be looking to government and see how these areas have been addressed.
Well, yeah, that's quite true, especially the mandate given to us by Mr. President to make sure that we engage in all year round farming, and for good reason. Climate change is here to stay, and the only way you can is to mitigate the impact of climate change. Droughts, flooding, irregular pattern of rainfall, and so on and so forth. So the safest cycle now is the dry season farming. But dry season requires irrigation. It requires water. And we have a lot of water bodies around. Maybe I could speak for my brother, the Minister for Water Resources. Some of our dams have aged. They need, maintenance, rehabilitation. And Mr. President is working on that. So that's the mandate of Federal Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation. For on our own, let me say and reward my brother's definition of food security. And now the Mr. President is also asking us to move from food security to food sovereignty. And what that means is food security is defined as the availability, accessibility, and affordability and consumption of diverse and nutritious food. So that is to say that not only that you just eat food anyhow, it has to be diverse, it has to be nutritious, it has to be something that is good for the body and has to have quality. Then food sovereignty is access, the human being's right to those aspects that I have mentioned. That is food sovereignty. And you cannot have food sovereignty in a country if your citizens do not have that right. And that is exactly what Mr. President is seeking us for us to do, to achieve that. So the investment that they are talking about, the need that the farmers, now 85%, 90% of the food we eat comes from the smallholder farmers. But when you go to some of our areas today, you see the kind of condition that smallholders farmers live. You wonder, and you say agriculture constitutes almost 25% of the GDP of Nigeria. With all these attendant amounts of money, and yet the agents of production, the smallholder farmer, still lives in squalor. And that is what Mr. President had done today, has mandated the Bank of Agriculture, appointed a new managing director, and has marching orders to make sure that credit and finance is available to the smallholder farmer. That is the issue, what they have raised. The other issue is support of inputs. Last year, Mr. President gave the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security 2,150,000 bags of fertilizer for onward delivery to farmers free of charge. And that would make wonders. I agree with him that there are mechanisms the federal government used to open up the window for importation, but that was only for a 150-day window. But what really made the magic last year was there was added cultivation. We had a positive impact on harvest, much more than what we had experienced in the previous 5 years of cultivation of wet season. And maize, we had a challenge with maize because maize is a crop that is both for animal and human consumption. So there was this competition between livestock, poultry, and human consumption. Our annual demand for maize is in excess of 22, 23 million tons per annum. And what we're producing is only about 15 to 17 million tons. But I guarantee you, even today, I received a preliminary report from the National Agricultural Extension and Research Liaison Service, which is the mandate agency under the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, and that of the Ahmadu Bello University, to give us harvest readings. And what we are seeing even in 2025, in fact, exceeds that of 2024. So part of the reason that prices are down is simple economics, is supply and demand. And that is what Mr. President had done. And another important aspect is when your leader has that political will and give out a clarion call, believe me, especially what the farmers have seen, what Mr. President has been doing, they took up that clarion call and made that decision to produce. And that is exactly what we have. For instance, look at Jigawa state government. We gave them support for only 40,000 hectares of wheat. People ended up doing 55,000. 2024, we gave them 40,000. And they ended up doing 110,000 for wheat. So what is that? What does that mean? It means the people are ready. The government, the state governments are there. They're doing wonderfully well. Today, Jigawa is a point of reference in the National Agricultural Scheme. So when you look at this thing combined, you will see exactly why prices are low today. The window that was given was only 250,000 tons of maize were imported. A demand of about 25 million, 250,000 tons is 1%. Now, you may ask me, was tomato imported? Was onion imported? Why were the prices stabilized? Because there was a lot of production. There was clarion, there was that acceptability of the leadership to the support that the leadership had given. We have so many programs that are working now, the National Agricultural Growth Scheme. We have so many programs, to do with agriculture at the SAPZ, which is the primary, the agro-processing aspect. So at the end of the day, there are programs of this administration that are endearing to the farmer and to the local population.
All right. I was going to say, since you stuck out to say the political will is there, and this transcends the usual politicking that you find with administrations, subsequent administrations in the country, and these are enduring and sustainable policies that go beyond.
Agriculture is no longer at ministerial level. It's at the presidential level.
All right.
And that is key in any policy you want to make, because that is why we're having successes now, really. It's because it's at that presidential level. And there are policies and structural adjustments being made. The recapitalization of Bank of Agriculture, like Minister of Livestock had mentioned, it's one way of making sure, because one of the 8 points agenda of Mr. President is access to funds and financial inclusion. So now the smallholder farmer have access. But what is also most importantly now is Mr. President's desire to have not only a farmer register, but also a farmland registry. Data of, you agree with me that you will never see a farmland that is cultivated without a farmer. But you would see farmers without farmlands. So this is what we're trying to do, come up with, and then we'll make sure we have signed an MOU with the National Identity Management Commission, NIMC, to provide what is called the G2P card, the government to people card. That card also will serve as both identification of that farmer with biometrics and also as a wallet for any incentives or support government intends to give. That it goes directly to that particular farmer. And all the areas, the farmlands will have geo positions, and we'll make sure. Even Jigawa had already gone far.
Let's take it to Jigawa then. And with what the minister is reeling out, let's bring it to you, particularly in view of the access to finance, funds, and mechanization.
Well, you see, like I said, these two things are very, very important for the smallholder farmer. Access to finance and mechanizations. And in Jigawa, like I said, we key into what the federal government is doing. The Bank of Agriculture has been recapitalized, and I'm sure by the time it starts rolling out its policies and programs, it will go down to meet the need of the smallholder farmer. But before then, we have, in Jigawa State, we have what we call the Microfinance Bank. Just this Monday, the State Executive Council also has approved for the establishment of additional 5 microfinance banks. These are all aimed at helping the smallholder farmer to access credit at easily and also at a subsidized rates. Again, we have what we call Jigawa State Savings and Loan Schemes. In addition to that, in addition to the housing needs, meeting the housing need of the civil servant in Jigawa State, also they have an idea of supporting the farmers. And that has gone a long way. And what we are doing, again, in terms of mechanization, as I said earlier, we were able to buy 300 tractors. We are able to buy 60 combine harvesters and 150 seeders and 150 broom sprayers. What we are doing is not that we are going to give out these tractors to people, no. We are establishing 60 centers. That in each state House of Assembly constituency will establish 2 centers. And each center you will have at least 5 tractors and you will have at least two combined harvesters. And so part of this. And all these tractors are with all the necessary implement. Now these centers, not only that they will give out these tractors to smallholder farmer at a subsidized rate, no, but also we try as much as possible to ensure that these centers operate with transparency and accountability. That means you are not coming here to pay money to take care of tractor. No, you will order the tractor for the service, and then you will pay online for the service of the tractor. We have various agents in all the nook and corners of Jigawa State to assist the farmers to do this work. And that will make the tractors available to the farmer, and that will show that not only that more land will be brought into production, but the yield will also be increased because efficiency will be introduced. Now, again, we have employed 1,700 extension workers in Jigawa State. This is the first time this large number of people have been employed as agricultural extension workers, and we have trained them. In each of the Jigawa State political ward, there is nowhere you can get less than 5 extension workers that are attending to the need of the farmers. So this will help too. And in addition to that, there are 2 issues. Seed is very, very important. In addition to all these mechanizations, in addition to finance, seed is also very important to the farmer. And recently, just last week, Jigawa State, we have signed an MOU with a seed company in India. This was a result of our visit. They came in here, we took them around all the nook and corners of Jigawa State. And they have seen what we have, and so what we are doing. And they have realized that the climatic condition of Jigawa State is almost the same as what they have in India. And that has, part of the agreement we have signed is, at the end of the agreement, they will be able to double our yield from what it is to 4% and to about 7%. That's part of the agreement. And that will help farmers to make more money. Again, farmers will be trained. And again, irrigation infrastructure that we are talking, that is very, very important. Like the Honorable Minister has said, as of today, 70%, 60 to 70% of farming activities are taking place during the dry season. Because of the fear of flood, people are not comfortable going into wet season farming because they lose a lot of money. So, and that also, irrigation is very, very key. And that's what Mr. President is doing, trying to expand irrigation facilities across. You have had the MD, you had the Jama'are just saying that this year they are going to rehabilitate so many dams, they are going to do this. This is to ensure that we have improved irrigation. Again, in addition to dams, there are also some upland areas, like in Jigawa State. We have about 4, 5, 6 local governments that are upland. Upland meaning that after the dry wet season farming, they have nothing to do. But we have tried to experiment this time by introducing industrial boreholes. These industrial boreholes are now working. In fact, the first experiment we did shows that the use of that area no longer go to any place. They don't even come to their local government headquarters because now they have found something doing. The industrial boreholes has given them opportunity for dry season farming. So all year round they will all farm. This has made us to expand to another 4 different places, and we'll continue to expand this. So by the time you continue to expand irrigation facilities, by the time you try to bring in finance, by the time you bring in extension workers, and by the time now you train farmers, especially our youth. Now what we have so many programs for the youth in Jigawa. The Rice Millionaire program we have. This is a program that we have introduced in a situation that in each of the state house of the House of Representative member, we have 11 House of Representative, and in each constituency of the House of Representative members, we have taken 100 youths. These youths were trained, they were given inputs, they were also given facilities, tractors, so that they can be able to go into farming. And now the experience we had, and these guys are going to do seed, not normal rice. No, they are going to produce seed. We have an agreement, cooperation with the Nigerian Seed Council. These guys are going to produce seed. And when they produce seed, the government will uptake this seed directly.
Let me return to one of the reasons adduced for the shortfall in maize production. And that's before we ask the maize farmer how, easy it is to access funding. But I'll come to the Minister of Livestock Development. And maize, one of the challenges was that it was both for human and animal consumption. And again, outlining what the Minister of Agriculture has said with regard to food security and food sovereignty, ensuring that the food is not just available and affordable, but it is also nutritious. And this takes me to the matter of the nutritious content, the protein, for instance, from livestock. Even though generally so many Nigerians see livestock as essentially cattle, there are other aspects of it. So
I think that is a kind of uninformed understanding of livestock. The English word here is livestock. Yes. That's what it means. But if you look at it again, yes, we compete for grains. Right. And let me explain it this way. Between agriculture and livestock, there is a wide area of convergence. There is a symbiotic relationship. The grains from agriculture, from crop production, the farm residue, and other byproducts of processed agro products are all forms of feedstock to livestock. For instance, if you take sugarcane, we have bagasse, we have molasses, and these are essential ingredients, particularly for feedlotting, where you're going to fatten bulls. You also have cotton. Wherever you have cotton growing, ginneries, after you extract your oil, you take your cotton, your lint, and everything, the cotton seed cake is another very good source of feed for livestock. We also have cassava. Once you process it, the cassava peels are also forms of feedstock. Then you also have soy. The soy meal is also used in poultry and bovine or ruminant feed formulation. Then it comes corn and all grains, all forms of grains actually. So there is that convergence, and it's like I said, it's a symbiotic relationship. But however, where you have an acute shortage, and that brings in acute competition, therefore the human consumption takes precedence over animal consumption, because again, the animals, the ruminants, can eat something that the human being doesn't eat, and that is the grass, the fodder, the pasture. And that's why in all our activities, yes, we do know that there is these shortages in this country, but we are not saying that we have to have it. We can cultivate other varieties of fodder, and there are many of them that are highly nutritious, genetically developed, scientifically driven to supply all the body nutrients the animal requires. But however, if again you have these other products from agriculture that I've mentioned, they're available, they make life easier, then the animals also has a sense of food and nutrient sovereignty, just like the human counterpart. We are not there yet, but that is what we are driving towards. And in our conversation with the Federal Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, that look, we need massive cultivation of grains. Now, that cuts the short time for feedlotting. Animals, bulls, for instance, if you get into feedlotting, bulls will eat grass, fodder, for a period, they're inducted into a feedlot. But 2 or 3 weeks before they are ready for processing, you introduce what we call finishing, and that's when the grains come in. So they quickly give them that boost, and they hit their genetic weight limitation, 700 kg, 800 kg, depending on the breed type. And you have massive amount of carcass. So that's what we're looking at. And the same thing goes for pig, the same thing goes for sheep, goes for poultry as well as for dairy. So that convergence is there. So in the transformation we are talking about, we are encouraging massive cultivation of grains so that we can supply the human requirement, and then the buffer, the leftover, we can have access to it. But we are not saying that has to happen because the animals have alternative which the human beings do not require. So that is how it is. And we do believe that the way we are going today, you can see even we are sitting next to each other here. So that also demonstrates that symbiosis between agriculture and livestock. And we do believe that that is the way to go. However, talking about irrigation is something, again, we share commonly. Yes. Now, it's been demonstrated the world over. No country feeds itself by relying on rain-fed agriculture. This government understands this much, and therefore they are investing heavily in developing dry season farming. It is less risky, more assuring, and in fact, if you engage in that, like it happens in Kano and Jigawa and some other places in the country, you have 3 cycles. Rather than allowing your land to lie fallow for 7 months during the dry season, you can also have productive economic activities. And that makes that more employment for our youth, more grains, more productivity of grains across the nation. And that's why we are encouraging them to get it. And that means also that we have sufficient fodder from the farm residue. And therefore, if we continue in that fashion, expanding lands under cultivation, expanding lands under irrigation, water availability, inputs, that means that one day in the not too distant future, we'll have sufficient grains for human consumption, for our silos, as well as for our livestock.
All right. Well, at this point, we'll take a short break. When we return, we'll explore further federal government incentives to agriculture. And, of course, the phone lines will be open, which means you can get to be part of the conversation in the studio. So stay with us. We'll be back shortly.
From the Atlantic across the savannah to the Sahara, we rise, a land of the free, we know they tire. We dream great, our spirit is undying.
Resilient, rooted like palm tree, we sway in colors, with undoubted demand. We make solutions, with nice passion, yeah. Ethnicity is unique, we know more than just a nation.
We are Nigeria, we are Nigeria, strengthening unity. We know they carry lives. We are Nigeria, together live the dream of a land with great destiny. We are Nigeria.
I am the real Nigerian. Brought to you by the National Orientation Agency, NOA.
The federal government of Nigeria warns vandals of national assets, electricity transmission towers, cables, and other facilities to desist from this act of sabotage. Vandalism is a serious crime punishable under the law. Vandalizing electrical equipment will affect millions of Nigerians, including your loved ones. Remember that national assets belong to all of us, hence the need to protect them. Report all cases of suspicious movement around electrical facilities to security agencies. When you see something, say something. This message is from the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation in collaboration with the National Counter-Terrorism Center, NCTC, Office of the National Security Advisor.
NTA Tuesday Live, a network issue-oriented innovation talk show.
All right. Thanks for staying with us. And It's about food security. And so this segment, the lines will be open, and we encourage you to call in and air your views, ask a question, or make a comment. But as we say every Tuesday, if you're calling in, do us a favor when your call gets passed through to the studio, turn down the volume of your TV set to avoid the hurlback or the echo. And we also encourage you to go straight to the point and keep it short so that others can also get on the platform. And one way of knowing that your call has been passed through to the studio is you'll see your name on the screen. When that happens, just go ahead and air your views. And we ask you not to worry too much about the greetings. Just a simple hello will do. Thank you so much. And of course, we do expect that your tweets would come in as well. And we already have a few tweets here. Let's start off by taking one or two of them. This is at Rigoberto. And it says, of all what we've been talking about here, this is a step in the right direction. But there is a caveat he puts in there. He says, hope the incentives actually reach the real farmers. And next we have one from Matt Ifoma. Ifoma says, how can we make farming more attractive to young people beyond financial incentives? So those two will address those two, and we'll pick it up from there. It's a step in the right direction, but hope the incentives actually reach the real farmers. And that's always how it is like. There's a term we learned not too long ago, political farmers and portfolio farmers. And so
but that's exactly what I said earlier.
Right.
That's what we want to do. We have so many data, farmer data all over the place, with the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, Food Security, with development partners, with the state governments and all that. So what we're trying to do is try to collate all them and verify them, and make sure that whatever we do, and that's why I also explained that card, the G2P card, that is NIN-based, that is biometrically enabled, so that when the person goes to the agro dealer to cash the support the government gives, what I mean by cash is like to take, whatever, if it's bags of fertilizer or even cash for support for working capital, it has to be you. It has to be that particular farmer. But we have to do this verification and also realignment of the data. So I'm happy they're talking about that, because this is also an awareness that we're going to tell farmers that only those genuine farmers will be registered.
Okay. The phone lines are already working. We have Mohammed calling in from Kaduna. Mohammed, if you're there, just go right ahead. Yes, Mohammed from Kaduna, you're on to Tuesday Live. So let's hear your views on food security, which is the matter.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, good evening. Go right ahead.
Good evening, distinguished. My name is Mohammed Haruna. I'm calling from Kaduna. Can you hear me?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, Mohammed, go ahead. We're listening. We're waiting for you to go on with your question or comment. Yes, Mohammed, I did say at the start of this segment that once you see your name on screen, go ahead, Mohammed. Your name is on screen. Go ahead. You can see your name on screen. Yes, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Just go ahead.
All right. My question I want to ask you this question is, how do these financial incentives have an impact to the youth?
Okay, that's it.
Yes, how do it impact to the youth? And the government keeps on saying they have a plan, they're doing this, they're doing that, but we don't see any results. So I want distinguishers like explain, help us, give us more clarity, let us in on what you are doing now. We wish you good luck because of course you are leaders and all, but we need to see results. We need to see proof.
All right. Okay, thank you, Mohammed. Well, Minister of Agriculture.
Yes, let me just start by saying when Mr. President commissioned the 2,000 tractors, in his speech, he said he intends to make agriculture sexy, not only attractive to them, but sexy. But and now his target were really young people, youths, men and women. And we are also using, we've been showcasing the flying farmer, who is Femi Odukaya, who is doing flying drones and doing a lot of applications of chemicals and fertilizer using drones. And he's also training a lot of drone pilots, quote unquote, on that aspect. And then we also have the tractors that we're going to set up, the service centers, will be manned and maintained and operated by youths. We intend even on those, the 2,000, to minimum of at least 50,000 youths will be trained on operation and maintenance of those service centers. And then we are also, there are farm estates that Mr. President is, take advantage of the NALDA land assets, the National Agricultural Land Development Agency, those land, assets that it's under NALDA. And we're going to develop those farm estates to the tune of over 250,000 hectares. And that also will deploy some of the tractors and the combined harvesters that we have to those land estates. And majority of, in fact, 99% of those that will be there will be the youths. So apart from just financial incentive, which we are trying to do through the Bank of Agriculture, the inclusion that I mentioned earlier, even in terms of service provision, youth will be engaged. For the first time, as my office, the Office of the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, has a special assistant, an essay on youth and innovation.
All right. Okay, so we have Efyong from Akwa Ibom on the line. Efyong from Akwa Ibom, go ahead. Yes, Efyong, we said to you to turn down the volume of your TV set. I can hear the hurlback all the way here. So turn down the volume of your TV set and we can get on. Yes, we can hear you, and you can go ahead just as soon as you turn down the volume of your TV set. Right, thank you. Efyong from Akwa Ibom, go ahead. All right. Okay, that call is dropped. But there's an interesting tweet here.
Let me just say
yes,
one.
Minister.
In addition to what the Minister of Agriculture first said regarding the youth, I think there's a misconception about agriculture generally, including livestock, here in this part of the world. In other lands and climes, people take agriculture as a business from the entry point. You don't wait until you are retired. You don't wait until you have you can't do anything else. If you take it as a business, you go to a college, you go to a school to study agriculture, to study how to become an agribusiness, an entrepreneur in agriculture. And that is what is missing here today. Most of our youth see agriculture as a form of hard labor, drudgery, and pain, long gestation period. And the challenges of lack of access to finance, lack of technology, market access, some challenges are there. But again, in every human endeavor, there is no area that doesn't have challenges. You just have to be ready and prepared for it. What am I saying? Today, this country is the largest market in Africa. We have 230-something million Nigerians, are still counting. For the livestock sector, We have, for instance, statistically, by 2023, we have 33 million primary school going children in this country. 33 million. If each child is going to take 1 egg a day, how many crates are you talking about? Who is going to manage those poultry birds? Who is going to get the feed formulation, the transportation, the medical services? This is what we're talking about. The opportunities are there. And with the pronouncements, with the policies of the present government, enabling environment is being created. For particularly the youth, because they have the drive, they have the energy, they have the innovativeness, creativeness in them. Okay. These are the kind of demographics that we want to see in livestock, in crop production.
Okay.
They will make the difference.
Right. Another call coming through at this point. Akilu Musa from Mina. Akilu Musa, go ahead. Akilu Musa from Mina, if you're there, go ahead.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, good evening. Go ahead.
Good evening.
Good evening, Akilu.
Why that? Evening, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Cyril.
Yes, good evening. Go ahead with a question or comment.
Okay, it's just a personal observation, especially as it affects the dropping of the prices of farm products. My quick take on this is that a lot of farmers, especially these small-scale farmers, have been complaining that the prices of our items are dropping while the inputs are skyrocketing. So this is my personal observation, and I feel I should share it with the national and sub-national governments. Something needs to be done about that so that we don't end up creating another problem. Meaning, just the way somebody has mentioned there, that the borders were opened. I hope in the end people will not capitalize on that and now make us a dependent nation again.
All right. Okay. There will be a response to...
So, that something should be done quickly to address this menace that we are envisaging, or the farmers are envisaging.
Okay.
Can I just answer this briefly?
Yes, Akilu, thank you very much.
He's actually right. I mean, major inputs that we have today, one, fertilizer, seeds, and in terms of, for instance, irrigation farming, the cost of irrigation as well. Those are the major inputs that we have seen. Yes, we have seen that the structural imbalance between prices of food in the market and also the cost of production. Basically, like I said, the fertilizer issue, as I'm speaking to you right now, there is an order by Mr. President to look into the fertilizer market and see a way to how to liberalize, reform the fertilizer market, to make fertilizer more affordable to the farmer. Then the issue of the seeds also, there is already also an approval and a provision of 50 billion naira that will be channeled to seed production through the National Seed Council and also the research institutes. Okay. Then in addition, that also the last National Executive Economic Council, although His Excellency is there, NASENI showcased to the council equipments for solar and battery-powered water pumps that would assist irrigation, especially during the dry season. So what we are actually trying to do also is to balance between the citizens' welfare and trying to provide affordable food, and at the same time the welfare of the farmer. Yes, there are imbalances as today's prices, but I'm sure things will be worked out, and very soon inputs will be affordable for the farmers to produce.
Okay. We'll take this call because I do know that Namadi also wants to comment on that. But let's get this call in from Umar Anachi, who's calling in from Building Kebi. Hello, Umar, go ahead.
Good evening, Sir.
Good evening.
I'm calling from Building Kebi. Actually, the price of food items, particularly grains, has reduced tremendously. But I did not subscribe to the issue of increased production. There is nothing like increase in production. It's open, the border was open, that is why the price has reduced. And secondly, the price tiers, when you reduce in the hands of people, the purchasing power tremendously reduced. So if there is price in the market, go to the market, what will be the reaction of those marketers that are dealing with the commodity? And the other issue is the government needs to support the farmers with fertilizer. Believe you have to drop 2 bags of rice, paddy rice, to take 1 bag of fertilizer. It's as much as 50,000. Now, this bag of rice has reduced. Price has reduced. You end up including the farmers, more especially the small-scale farmers. And those who are opportune, like Kebi, to get fertilizer free of charge, there are some constraints attached to that. One, it came late. It's around August that they will distribute fertilizer. Then the second issue is not given to the target farmers. And finally, it is not enough. If a Nigerian farmer is supported with even the safe, it will go a long way. May God continue to bless our country. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Umar. And well, we'll take a response to that. And of course, Namadi, we wanted to say a thing or two about the area.
Thank you very much. I think the question of farmers losing money, I think it's the right country. It's the right, something is correct. Because what is happening is the prices of commodities are low, while the inputs are high. But again, like the Honorable Minister has said, the government is aware of that, and I think major steps have been taken. For instance, one, the issue of fertilizer liberalization. This is something that is the first time that the fertilizer regime is being regularized. But the question is, this is something that the Presidential Food Coordinating Unit will work out the modality of this liberalization, because it has not yet been worked out, and it will be worked out to the extent that at least the prices of fertilizer will bring in competition, and that competition will also try as much as possible to ensure that the prices of fertilizer are down. Not only that, bringing competition. Again, it comes to the issue of, okay, if you liberalize the market, okay, the Bank of Agriculture will now be brought in to assist the small blenders. Because just mere liberalization without bringing in the small blender, increasing the participant, then you will not achieve. So I think there's a very good policy that is being developed by the Presidential Food System Coordinating Unit that will ensure that the prices of fertilizer are down. Again, the issue of major two cost element happened. One, the fertilizer to the petrol cost. Now the petrol cost is quite, the fertilizer and petrol cost contributes 75% of dry season farming cost. So if it's 75% of the dry season cost, 2 elements alone, then certainly that is why farmers are not making profit. So, and now the government has come out to address these 2 issues. Now the Niseni issue is quite important. Now Niseni are bringing a solar-powered farm, and this solar-powered farm that will be able, a 3-inch solar-powered farm, which is will be able to irrigate about 0.3 hectares within a period. And so within at least about 3 days, you'll be able to irrigate a hectare, and they are also can develop more than 3-inch pump. Again, the question is now, how many of these pumps they will produce? Now, with this at the neck, they were tasked, and they confirmed that they can do 90,000 pumps per month. So, and if they can have enough funding, and they can do 90,000 pumps per month, then certainly these farms over time, with the time they can go round, and then it will, this 75% cost of production will be reduced. And then once they are reduced, farmers will start making money. But the fact also is the same, that issue was raised, yes, the borders, I think, are opened, the import is coming in, which is also creating unnecessary competitions. So, and the issue is that there is need to look at, even if you want to allow import goods, then it should be the right tariff should be put on those goods that will be, so that at least there will be a balance. Now, the president is allowing these goods to come because people are complaining that prices are high and people hunger is there in the country. And now something has happened now, again. So now the issue is to balance the two. Now, the balance the two also bring in food, but at the right tariff. Okay. When the right tariff is on it, then you are helping the farmer and we are also helping the citizens. So I think that is what we are working on, and I think the presidential food system will work out this, and I'm sure our farmers will be happy for it. Thank you very much.
Right. Well, okay. I was just going to take this tweet. Well, part of it has already been addressed, but just to quickly go over it, it's from @praise. And @praise 762 says, if 1 million jobs are created, which age group or demographic do you think should be prioritized? But I guess that both ministers have talked about that. The fact that to get into agriculture, you wouldn't have to wait until you're a retiree, where there's little or no energy left to till the soil. Well, there's one more. So let the calls come through, and we'll address them as we go on. But there's one matter I still would like to put to the president of the Maize Association, and that's the question of access to financing. A lot has been rolled out. Is it getting to the real maize farmers? Now, I want you to answer that with a reflection on similar schemes in the past where finances were provided for farmers, and we know what happened to some of those schemes. They had to be abandoned because there was a very poor repayment scheme. A point in case is the anchor borrowers.
Well, the issue of the access to finance to farmers, whenever there is a program or a scheme like this, sometimes the actual farmers are not getting the access. Those that are the real farmers, as how the Honorable Minister said that there is a portfolio farmers. Really, yes, there is. But there are some, those real farmers. And if you talk about the previous scheme or the previous program, you know, that program, it is a program that consists 3 stages or 3 categories. There is a state window, which about 22 states participated in that program, and all their farmers benefited, but they didn't repay back the loan because they were thinking that it is political, because it was through the state window. Even now, it's the state governors that are paying the loans on behalf of the farmers. Then the second one, there's a private ANCO. That is the prime ANCOs. Those are private companies that participated and collected the money, but they didn't farm. They just, some of them, they bought assets. Now there is a recovery. I know there is one private company that I knew. They bought 3 assets when they collected the loan. Now, they didn't farm. Now, when the issue of the recovery came now, they sold only one property and repaid back the loan. What is that? So the last one is the one for the commodity associations, where the farmers were giving the inputs, were benefited, and it is something that is real. Because during that time, from 2015 to 2021, there was enough and abundant food security, food supply. Because if you look at what happened, even during COVID-19, when there was a total lockdown globally, you cannot move food from one country to another. We feed ourselves, and the price were very affordable. So therefore, it is those farmers that benefited from that program that produced the grains or the food that we have consumed during that time. And also, if you look at the rate of the production, in 2015, the rate of production of maize is only 8 million tons. It is in the record. But by 2020, our production has rose to 20 million. And it was recommended by the FAO that Nigeria became the first country in maize production in Nigeria. It is there in a record. In Africa. Before it was South Africa. But in 2020, it is a record by the FAO that Nigeria became the first country in maize production in Africa. So you see, it is something that you have to weigh it. And if you are trying to talk about the issue of the Anko Broa, you have to be fair and justice. Who are the people, or who are the categories of the people that defaulted?
The maize farmers, did you repay your loans, the maize farmers?
Yes, of course.
All right.
Because it is a record that our percentage of the recovery is about 72%. And I'm sure that even in exam, if you score 70, it is an excellent or very good. So, because, see, what we have done in our own site, even before, since 2022, all the major defaulters, we have already taken action against them.
Okay.
That is why we have succeeded in our recovery. We have reported some to EFCC, some to DSS, some to IG, some to so many courts. And still, the security agencies are assisting us in doing this recovery. So it's not everything that you generalize it and say that it's not. So coming to the next issue is that how those farmers can get this finance. It is through what the Honorable Minister has explained, to get the real and the actual data. Not only data for the farmer, no. His farm, all other farming activities. If there is that record, if there is that data, I'm sure that everything will go right. Okay. So that is the issue.
All right. Well, these are some of the challenges that would come up when you have such schemes. But I suppose even at the sub-national levels, you found a way of dealing with them.
Yeah, certainly. You see, it depends on the data you have. Because if you want, say that, okay, you are trying to help farmers. Now, for example, in Jigawa State, what we have all what we call the farmers register. Now, each farmer will be registered and with his farm holding, and then the location of the farm. We have the full data of our farmers. Okay. And once you are, we have a means of giving you input, like we have a voucher system, like just a card like the minister has said. We introduce this card, and then when you go there, it is that same card will identify you, It's the same card that will give you access to those input. And when it comes to the recovery, that it is also using the same card that will be able to get money back. So, and I think once the data is there, then you'll be able, and you are giving it to the real farmer. Certainly recovery will be easy. Yes.
All right, let's get back to the phones now. Bala Mohammed is calling in from Birnin Kebbi. Hello, Bala, go ahead. Bala Mohammed from Birnin Kebbi.
Good
evening. Right.
Yeah, first of all, I want to congratulate His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Jigawa State, for what he has been doing in agriculture. Mine is that actually the issue of extension agent is very, very vital in agriculture. And the Honorable Minister is very much aware that the Ministry of Agriculture is acting a number of extension agents very good. So mine is that we can borrow a lead from different programs that are coming. We run a program of IFAD program in the northern state of Kebbi, Jigawa, Bororo, and so on. I believe the Honorable Minister is very much aware of it. And through that, there is a model they come with, which we call Farmer Field School. Through that Farmer Field School, you teach farmers all the agronomic practices, good agronomic practices, right from the land preparation and what have you. And before the program went off, we have so many farmers that are as good as our extension agents. This is the best way that you can impart knowledge to the farmers, and the farmers will be practicing their farming, and they will get a maximum yield for our area. Because I can tell you in Kebbi State, we have farmers that can produce as much as 8 tons per hectare of Fadi rice. So another issue is the issue of this irrigation. We have to develop the irrigation infrastructure if we are going to do irrigation. Having all these waterfalls and what have you is just adding a lot of burdens and high cost on production to the farmers. So another thing I want to add is that the issue of giving input to farmers free, please, we should cease from doing it. Because it will end up in the hands of the political farmers. So when you are giving, I advise that we give subsidy to the farmers so that it will be affordable, farmers can access it, so the real farmer will definitely go and buy it. By the time you have, for instance, you have 10,000 farmers, and you are only able to give 300 farmers this fertilizer, but what do you do? It's a hostile effort. But by the time you said you are giving subsidy, those farmers that are real farmers, they will buy fertilizers. Because traditionally we know, during the harvesting period, farmers will sell their input, and farmers will sell their produce and buy input and feed. Real farmers. That has been the practice over the years. So I still want to congratulate His Excellency for what he has been doing, especially in mechanization. We have to go mechanized if we want to feed ourselves. Otherwise, we'll continue to be making political statements without a very good result. Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you. Thank you, Bala Mohammed from Birnin Kebbi. Well, except...
he has said a lot of things that are very vital.
Yeah.
The water pumps that we're talking about today is like a stopgap situation. What we want is full-fledged irrigation infrastructure. We have seen places where they depend solely on irrigation agriculture, some countries. And just like we have reticulation of water to domestic for household water use, they have reticulation to farmlands, where if you want to irrigate, just put your sprinkler and irrigate your farmland. Water will come and you have it, you'll be charged, you know, water use and water use. So, but when we're talking about these water pumps, I mean, for instance, he's from Birnin Kebbi. There was a time we wanted to take a stock on those ones that wanted to convert their petrol-driven water pumps to LPG, and with the government, state government provided them with, I think, the conversion kit. The request that came was for over 400,000 farmers. So you could just imagine 400,000 water pumps are being utilized in Kebbi alone. So how do you overnight change that? So what we are saying is that there is a stopgap. Instead of fuel-driven, now we're looking at solar-powered pumps and battery, so that you could actually pump during the night. Then the other aspect is talking about extension. There are major problems that we have, we have seed research. We have to look for seeds that are
early maturing,
quality seeds that are drought resistant, heat tolerant, and also all that. Because of climate change, extension service is also geared because now times have changed. There is issue of climate change. There is issue of soil health, because now we have been using fertilizer for a lot of period, and we need to monitor our soil health. We need to direct agronomic practice according to that soil and according to the crop you're going to grow in that particular agroecology. So it's not like the general bean that we're looking at. So we have in the past, even as at last year, we did the train the trainers, of which also Jigawa state government has also participated, especially in the wheat, because wheat is a crop that is a bit difficult or different from our normal rice, and it's not user-friendly, so to speak. So we had to engage. We brought in experts from Mexico and from Ethiopia that trained the trainers in Zaria, and they went to the States to train the extension workers on this particular wheat seed that is Bolo 100, that the federal government imported from Mexico. But I tell you, today, we have not imported. In last year's production, we did not import one single seed from outside. We used our own seed. And now another thing that is very good that we are doing today is that right now, we are experiencing rain-fed wheat production in Plateau State. In the next couple of weeks, I'm going there for the Greenfield Day. And I'm going to invite a lot of, especially His Excellency here, who is #1 in wheat. But this is for rain-fed, which ordinarily wheat is done under irrigation. But for the first time, we're trying rain-fed. So I'm happy to announce that the Lake Chad Research Institute has been able to do that. We have cultivated 7 hectares now, and it's I get reports every day. I have pictures, and I'm going to go there in a couple of weeks, immediately after the Independence Day, for the Greenfield Day of that particular rain-fed wheat cultivation.
Right. Well, let me go back quickly to how all of this can lift millions of citizens out of poverty. And I'd like to focus particularly on the opportunities in fodder, which is key in livestock development.
Yeah, thank you. Let me say this, that today we are working on a presidential initiative on youth and women in livestock. And what that means is that we are going to get about 1,000 youths from each state of the Federation, including the FCT, to get into livestock value chains. And they will choose the value chains by their choice, depending on your passion, follow your heart. Where do you want to be? And then we'll build your capacity, cluster you in terms of cooperatives, and give you those necessary skills. Really, the skills that are going to be TVET and MBT validated and approved. So this will stand the test of time. It is not just about livestock we're talking about. It's about employability even outside the boundaries of Nigeria. Because that's what we've seen is happening in other countries. Young men, young women who want to choose livestock as a business will have the opportunity of having a livelihood out of their choice of any value chain they want to do in livestock. So, and if you take 37 or 40,000 youths across and they get into livestock, that will probably have a multiplier effect in what they are going to do. If you take fodder, for instance, and we are going to be very aggressive with fodder because for us, livestock is fodder and fodder is livestock. It's at the center of the social crisis we have today in the country because the absence of feed and fodder sufficient enough for our animals. And that's why they have to move from point A to point B. And in the process, you have a lot of clashes, a lot of plus points. So that is what we want to emphasize. Yes, smallholder is okay for you if you have 2-3 animals. But we want to emphasize that fodder cultivation today at a commercial level is a business, a standalone business on its own. Apart from the local national demand, I personally have sold soda, been selling soda for over 15 years. Yes, trailers and trailers have done that. I've cultivated sufficient enough for my own herd, and I have excess. And I offered that to the market. But as I'm talking to you today, there is a huge export opportunity of fodder into the Gulf. There is a huge opportunity for export of fodder into the Gulf. And all the varieties of grasses they want have been tested, have been tried in different ecological zones in this country, and they are doing well. Let me say this. His Excellency, the Governor of Jigawa State, is a witness. Somebody cultivated 50 hectares of alfalfa in Jigawa. It was tested under international laboratory, and it came out with excellent values. In fact, surpassing international requirements. And I asked the governor to please give the gentleman more land. He just tried in 50 hectares. And that alfalfa can be locked on into Qatar, UAE, Saudi Arabia. That is an opportunity for our youth. That is an opportunity to generate huge employment and FX earning into Nigeria. So and that is the reason why Mr. President thought about establishing the livestock industry, to delve into those and ventilate out these things for Nigeria to unlock the potentials that are there. And this is just a tip of the sand dunes. There are so many things when you begin to remove the sand. You discover a number of things. Okay. Yes. So, but for fodder, you have the opportunity to just growing fodder, and if you want to export that fodder, you can export it raw. But you can also pelletize it. You can also, make it into blocks, protein blocks for animals to lick. And then therefore it becomes easier to transport. The shelf life will be extended. And then it becomes branded with proudly green, white, green. This is what we're talking about.
Yeah. Yes, Mr. Governor, obviously Jigawa has been very busy.
Yeah. Actually, like the minister was saying, yes, it's just a gentleman that came in with a proposal. We look at the proposal and say, this was a trying. So we gave him 50 hectares. And today the guy is asking for another 1,000 hectares. So we granted him another 500 hectares. So that, and you see the importance, if you go there and see the activity and the number of youths that is employing in that place is quite amazing. So I think, like he said, there's a lot of issues that, especially for the youth, to embark into agriculture. Like the rice millionaire we are doing in Jigawa, like the 100 hectares for each local government where youths are involved. At least in each local government, we ask chairman of the local government to give 100 hectares to youth. And some of the local government give about 200 hectares, 300 hectares. And these youths are involved in agriculture and doing so many things. And this is becoming an issue, removing people, taking people out of poverty. The workers' agricultural schemes we are doing also is something. I have almost 56,000 workers in Jigase. By the time all of these guys key into farming, that they can be able to produce something they will eat for themselves. That means I'm removing 56,000 people out of the market competition. And that certainly will help to ensure that stabilize the price of food in Jigawa. So that is exactly the process we are doing, bringing in more land into production, bringing in more people into production, and then we will be able to increase production, and then we'll be able to feed ourselves and be food secured in Nigeria.
Right. Well, we only have a few minutes to go on this program, so we'll start winding down quickly at this point. Let me start off by asking the president of the maize farmers to just project where we would be in maize production next, where we go from here.
Well, based on what the Honorable Minister said, that there is some strategies that are on the ground now to support the smallholder farmers with the inputs, especially fertilizer, which you heard that many of our farmers are their major complaint, which is because fertilizer is a major component in any farming activities. So with that one, if the inputs will come on time, at the right time, and to be given to the right farmers, and I'm sure that we will reach our target. Okay. Because if you look at what happened this year, the reason why farmers are complaining is that they have already bought the inputs at high cost. It is now that the new system, the new strategy will come. So please, let it come at the right time. Okay. And also, I want to use this opportunity to advise, since our Honorable Minister is here, that the issue of the price, market price, I know that there was a guaranteed minimum price in the Ministry of Agriculture under the Strategic and Grains Reserve, which I know that for over 10 years, even our association was a member there. So please, sir, let that committee be reconstructed so that the committee will be giving advice to you on the how you will go along about the grains prices, and then also let the government buy the farmers' produce direct, so that it will support them to reduce what they have lost now.
Okay, then thank you so much. We'll have to leave it there, but we conclude with just one last tweet, which I'd ask you to respond to in 30 seconds. And this tweet asks the question, at Obasi sent this tweet in and says, do you think Nigeria can achieve self-sufficiency in food within the next 10 years?
Oh yes, certainly. I know we have a growing population, which some view as a challenge, but we look at it as an opportunity, because we have a huge, proactive, determined, youthful population. All right. Under 40, they're already about 65% of the population right now. Yeah. So,
Minister of Livestock, you think we can achieve self-sufficiency?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
Mr. Governor.
Yeah, certainly we can. Because certainly if Jigawa can boast of producing 50% of the rice requirement in Nigeria, and we have all the steps that are necessary to achieve that, there's no reason why we can achieve, even in less than 10 years, we can do that.
All right. Well, and that's where we have to leave this conversation on an optimistic note, and say thank you very much to all our guests here. The Governor of Jigawa State, Umar Namadi, thank you so much for being here. Senator Abubakar Kyari, Minister of Agriculture and Food Security. Thank you. And Minister Mukhtar Idi Maiha, who is Minister of Livestock Development. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Cyril. Thank you, NTA. Thank you, Nigeria.
And our President of the Maize Association of Nigeria, Bello Ofuntua. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Cyril.
Right.
Thank you.
And that's our program today. We thank you for watching. Next week, we'll be back with NTA Tuesday Live. I'm Cyril Stober. Bye for now.